If life is made of moments, why are we so disconnected from them? Think about the last time you truly felt time passing, aware of every second, every breath. For many of us, it seems like the days fly by in the blink of an eye. We're so caught up reliving the past or worrying about the future that we forget to live what really matters, the present. Martin Heidegger, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, offers a perspective that might turn your world upside down. He teaches us that time isn't just something that passes, it's the essence of our very existence. Ignoring it is like missing the chance to discover who you truly are. Heidegger had a clear message: wasting time is wasting life itself. So, what does this have to do with you? Everything. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the connection between time and authenticity. We'll explore how living more consciously can not only change how you see the world, but also how you see yourself. After all, life isn't about what we do or have, it's about how we choose to exist. When we talk about time, many of us see it as something linear, something that just keeps moving, with hours and minutes piling up without us truly noticing. But for Heidegger, time isn't just a sequence of moments, it's the very fabric of our existence. We're always in the now, but we often disconnect from it. We spend most of our time living in the past, reliving mistakes or memories, or in the future, fearing what's to come. But what happens to the present? And where does spirituality fit into all of this? True spirituality begins when we become fully aware of the present moment. By recognizing that time is finite, we start to appreciate the here and now. Heidegger teaches us that spirituality is closely tied to our ability to perceive the urgency and beauty of the present moment. When we understand that time isn't infinite, we begin to live more intensely, more authentically. It's in the present where we can experience life in its fullness, and by doing so, our spiritual journey deepens. The big question is, how much of your time are you really living? Or are you so lost in the distractions of daily life that you're just going through the motions? When you start paying attention to the now, everything changes. You begin to feel life more vividly, noticing the details that once slipped by. And spirituality? It begins to manifest in that awareness, in that movement of returning to the present, the only moment we truly have, the now. We live in an increasingly busy world, where we're constantly bombarded by external stimuli, social media, messages, work deadlines, social expectations. It feels like there's never enough time to breathe, and our attention is always pulled in 1,000 directions. And here's where the question arises: what does it really mean to be authentic amid all these distractions? How can we live truthfully, in alignment with our own values, in a world that seems to pull us further from who we truly are? Heidegger offers a profound perspective on authenticity. For him, being authentic is about recognizing that we're responsible for our choices. It's about living according to our own values, not external pressures. Society often pushes us into a life of conformity. We do things because others expect it or because that's how things are done, but true authenticity is about living with courage, making conscious choices that align with what truly matters to us. When we disconnect from our essence to meet the demands of the world, we fall into a state of inauthenticity, and that state leaves us feeling more and more empty, anxious, and disconnected from our true selves. Now, imagine an ordinary day. You wake up, grab your phone, start scrolling through social media, answering emails, getting distracted by whatever pops up on the screen. In the middle of this routine, you ask yourself, is this really what matters to me? Are the choices I'm making aligned with who I am, or are they just a reflection of external expectations? It's a moment of reflection we all need to have from time to time. When we manage to ask ourselves this question and find true answers, we're taking the first step toward authenticity. True freedom comes when we take the reins of our lives and begin living genuinely. not by the expectations of others, but according to our own values. The notion of finitude is one of Heidegger's key ideas, and although it can be uncomfortable, it's also a crucial key to living more authentically. Knowing that life is limited and that our time is finite forces us to reflect on how we're truly spending our time. We often find ourselves wrapped up in trivial worries or activities that don't bring real meaning, only to realize later that time has passed and we haven't done what really mattered. Heidegger teaches us that by embracing our finitude, we can live more fully. When we become aware that life is fragile and our existence isn't eternal, the choices that once seemed small gain new meaning. What once felt like an urgent worry loses its significance, and what used to seem distant becomes essential. That's the power of reflecting on mortality. It has the potential to free us from the illusion that we have infinite time to do what really matters. If we knew our time was limited, we might do things differently. And that's exactly what Heidegger challenges us to do. Reflect on the end of our lives and act based on that reflection. Now, imagine you only had 1 year to live. What would you do with that time? What would become your priorities? Which activities or people would take center stage in your life? When you ask yourself that, you'd likely realize that many of the things you worry about don't hold as much value as they seem. The reflection on finitude, far from being a burden, is actually a liberation. It allows us to give meaning to what we do, helps us make conscious decisions, and guides us toward what really matters. So, finitude teaches us that true freedom lies in making choices that align with our deepest values, not with what the world imposes. Life is all about choices, and although we have free will, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by inauthenticity and the fear of making the wrong decisions. The problem arises when, instead of acting based on our true values, we succumb to the expectations of others, social norms, or the fear of failure. When we finally realize it, many of our years have been spent following a path that wasn't ours. This is fertile ground for regret, and it's what Heidegger warns us about. Lost time can never be regained. However, there's a way to avoid letting regret take over our lives. The key lies in living with a greater purpose, one that's connected to our essence. By doing so, we begin making more conscious decisions, grounded in our values, not in external distractions. This doesn't mean we can't change our course, but it does mean we're making deliberate choices, born from deep reflection on what truly matters. A good exercise for this process is to list your essential values. What really matters to you in life? From there, reflect on your daily actions. Are they aligned with those values, or are you just going with the flow? Another important aspect is the need to slow down. Life doesn't need to be a race. On the contrary, it's an invitation to slow down, to reflect before we act. This is crucial to avoiding regret. It's easy to get lost in the demands of routine and external pressure, but if we stop and reflect on what we truly want for our lives, we can take conscious steps toward what truly matters. Full presence is an antidote to future regrets. Meditation, silence, and moments of reflection can help us pause and make decisions that align with our true selves. Time, that precious and finite resource, is what truly shapes our existence. Every day, it slips through our fingers, and the question is, what are we doing with it? Heidegger reminds us that when we're not aware of our finitude, we're simply letting life slip away without truly living it. Today, more than ever, life offers us the chance to decide how we'll use each moment. Will you continue at the mercy of inauthenticity, carried away by distractions and external pressures? Or will you finally take control of your journey and live according to your deepest values? Don't wait until time has passed to realize that it was your most valuable asset. The change starts now, in this very moment. The choice is yours. Seize the present and live with purpose and authenticity. Don't let time slip by in vain. If you've been moved by these words, I invite you to take the next step on this journey of self-discovery. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue this path of spiritual growth with us. Share your experiences with time in the comments. The time you're living, is it real? How has it been a teacher in your own awakening? Let's grow together, not just in mind, but in heart. And if you'd like to dive deeper into this process, check out our video Mindfulness Expert Reveals the Secret to a Quiet Mind, which will help you understand more about how reality manifests, peace and light.